Jon Stewart obliterates Prince Harry's Invictus Games speech. A royal disaster unfolds. It was supposed to be a moment of inspiration, a speech that uplifted and honored the sacrifices of wounded veterans. But instead, Prince Harry's 2025 Invictus Games opening remarks became the subject of a ruthless takedown on The Daily Show, one that left Jon Stewart's audience in stunned silence before erupting into laughter. The moment Stewart began his critique, it was clear he wasn't holding back. With his signature mix of sarcasm and brutal honesty, he shredded Harry's speech, piece by piece, exposing what he called its lack of coherence, depth, and connection to the very people it was meant to honor. A speech without substance, and a speaker without awareness. "What was that?" Stewart began, shaking his head in exaggerated disbelief. Did Prince Harry just take the Mad Libs approach to speechwriting? Because that was a word salad of inspirational clichés stacked on top of each other with no real meaning. He went on to highlight the most baffling moments, calling out the speech's failure to connect with the veterans in attendance. This is a man who, let's be honest, hasn't exactly been embracing his military background lately. And yet, here he is, standing in front of actual heroes, trying to sell them a resilience story that somehow still manages to be all about him. The audience roared as Stewart mimicked Harry's delivery. Overly dramatic pauses, forced sincerity, and the kind of exaggerated hand gestures that would make even a beginner drama student cringe. The prince's self-centered narrative. Look, we get it. He wants to prove himself. He wants to be seen as a leader, a motivator, someone who understands struggle, Stewart continued. But here's the problem. You can't stand up in front of wounded veterans and make it about your own journey of self-discovery. It's not a TED Talk on reinventing yourself after quitting your job as a royal. It's supposed to be about them. Stewart played a clip from Harry's speech where the prince spoke about overcoming personal battles and finding purpose through adversity. Then, in typical Daily Show fashion, Stewart cut back to himself and deadpanned. "Dude, you moved to California and signed a Netflix deal. That's not adversity. That's a midlife career change. A laughable comparison to real leaders." Stewart didn't stop there. He compared Harry's speech to past ones given by world leaders and veterans themselves, people who spoke with raw emotion, clarity, and an undeniable connection to their audience. "What's amazing," Stewart mused, "is that these guys, these veterans who have actually lost limbs, survived combat, and rebuilt their lives, they speak with real passion and real heart. Meanwhile, Harry's up there giving us the royal version of a LinkedIn post." He then read a few particularly overused phrases from Harry's speech. "We rise together, the human spirit is unbreakable, and you are stronger than you think," before rolling his eyes and quipping, did he just Google motivational quotes before stepping on stage? Backlash from veterans and social media. It wasn't just Stewart who found the speech uninspiring. Reports from the event suggested that many attendees, especially veterans, felt underwhelmed and even disappointed. One veteran, quoted in an online discussion, said, "I was expecting something that spoke to our experiences, not a rehash of self-help jargon. It felt rehearsed, disconnected, and honestly, a bit self-indulgent." On social media, the response was just as brutal. Hashtags like #InvictusFlop and #MotivationByMeghan began trending, the latter a jab at speculation that Meghan Markle may have had a hand in writing the speech. Twitter users didn't hold back. Prince Harry's speech at Invictus Games sounded like it was lifted from a self-improvement book. No authenticity, no real emotion, just fluff. Imagine standing in front of real-life warriors and giving them a Hallmark card speech. That's basically what happened. Invictus Games is about the veterans, not a redemption arc for Harry. Someone should remind him of that. Final blow, Stewart's unforgiving takedown. Stewart wrapped up his critique with one final, searing line. That speech wasn't for them, it was for him. And that, Stewart argued, was the heart of the problem. Instead of using the moment to truly honor those who served, Harry turned it into yet another opportunity to present himself as a figure of resilience, conveniently forgetting that the people in front of him had faced hardships beyond anything he had ever known. As the Daily Show segment ended, the audience erupted in applause, many nodding in agreement with Stewart's assessment. Meanwhile, the fallout continued. Royal insiders scrambled to defend the speech, while supporters insisted that Harry had good intentions. But the damage was done. The prince's attempt at an uplifting address had instead become the subject of mockery, and his credibility, at least as an inspirational speaker, had taken a major hit. So the question remains, Was this just another PR blunder, or is Prince Harry completely out of touch with the very cause he claims to champion?